Hello and welcome to a new episode of Africa Today. Today we're going to shed the light first on stories from the AU, and we're going to start off with Chad, as the foreign minister has been elected as the new chair of the African Union Commission, pledging a place development and a security for the top of his agenda and streamline the organization's bureaucracy. Musa Faki Mohamed, a former prime minister who has been at the forefront of the fight against militants in Nigeria, Mali and the Sahel, was chosen by the 54-member body at a summit that has exposed Morocco's readmission to the Union. Alpha Condé, the Ghanaian president, was elected to the largely ceremonial role of the chairperson of the Union. And moving to Burkina Faso, where Egypt and Burkina Faso face each other in one of the African Cup of Nations semi-finals on Wednesday. Neither team have tasted defeat in Gabon, and seven-time champions Egypt have yet to concede goal. Egypt eliminated Morocco 1986, Burkina Faso 1998, and Senegal 2006, the Ivory Coast 2008, and Algeria 2010 to reach finals, all of which they won. And moving to Gambia, where the ECOWAS mission of the Gambian has seized weapons and ammunition from the private home of the exiled former President Yahya Jammeh and his hometown in the west of the country. And we have more in the following report.
The commander of the ECOWAS joint mission announced the seizure of weapons and ammunition from the private home of Gambia's former President Yahya Jammeh on Monday, without specifying the quantity of weapons nor the day they were seized. He said all weapons and ammunition are now in the custody of ECOWAS, adding that the situation is under control and that the Gambian armed forces have been very cooperative. He also confirmed the arrest of the head of an elite unit of the Gambian army. The ECOWAS said its forces were deployed to enforce a peaceful transfer of power and to protect the rights and freedom of civilians if defiant Jammeh decides to use the military to remain in power. New Gambian President Adama Barrow, who returned to the country last week, said over the weekend that the ECOWAS troops will remain in the country indefinitely until they are not needed anymore. Barrow decided to maintain the head of the Army General and also keep the National Intelligence Agency NIA, but change its name.
And moving to Ethiopia, where nearly 150 Ethiopian migrants who had been detained in Zambia have returned home. The migrants, aged between 15 and 38, were released after receiving a presidential pardon, and we have more about this issue in the following report.
Ethiopian immigrants who had been detained in Zambia for between 1 and 5 years and were serving various immigration-related sentences in prisons across the country have been returned home. Zambia's Chief of Mission for International Organization for Migration IOM said the pardoning of the migrants demonstrates the Zambian government's commitment to address the plight of migrants and explore alternatives to detention for immigration offenses, which will contribute to the decongestion of prisons. The IOM Director General discussed the plight of detained migrants when he visited Zambia and met with senior government officials in May 2016. Zambia has strict immigration laws, and undocumented migrants can be prosecuted for consenting to be smuggled and given minimum prison sentences of 15 years. Most migrants detained in Zambia come from the Horn of Africa and transit through the country en route to South Africa, where they hope to find employment and a better future for themselves and their families. They pay $4,000 to $5,000 $25,000 US for the dangerous journey, which can take several weeks and often involves hiding in container trucks and walking for long stretches with little food or water.
And moving to Benin, where a malaria drug treatment has hit markets in Burkina Faso, Benin, and Central African Republic. And scientists say it is changing the lives of the locals. And let's know more about this in the following report.
A malaria drug made from natural plant extract has hit the markets in a number of African countries. The drug, available in Benin, Burkina Faso, Chad, and the Central African Republic, is significantly cheaper than anti-malarial drugs currently on the market. The drug's introduction comes as Ethiopia, Swaziland, Uganda, Botswana, Cabo Verde, Comoros, DRC, and Chad have been honored for their significant progress in the fight against malaria. The 8 countries were awarded on Monday by the African Leaders Malaria Alliance ALMA at the 28th African Union Summit in Addis Ababa, Ethiopia. ALMA is an alliance of 49 African heads of state and government working to end malaria-related deaths. President of Chad and outgoing AU chairperson Idriss Déby Itno said in a statement that the success of these countries shows the powerful impact that dedication and sufficient funding can have. Ethiopia, Swaziland, and Uganda are estimated to have decreased malaria incidence and mortality by more than 40% in the past 5 years, according to the World Health Organization. Their progress keeps them on track to eliminate malaria by 2020. Since 2000, malaria mortality rates across the continent have fallen by 62% in all age groups and by 69% among children under 5, according to the African Union. Africa still bears the highest global malaria burden. In 2015, 195 million of the 212 million new malaria cases and 394,000 of the world's 429,000 malaria-related deaths were in Africa.